So this is weekly assignments number 4. I'm a couple days late getting this one out. I was in a bad storm in my area, which was kind of hindering my ability to get online. So now that I'm back, we're going to catch up and get this weekly assignments number 4 done. Well, if you hadn't been doing your assignments before or weren't too sure if it was worth doing, you may want to consider it now because they have boosted the amount of merits to get us the bonus for completing your assignments. They actually gave a 20 times increase to the amount of bonus you get from completing it. And before we were maybe getting 180 to a couple hundred merits, now you're getting anywhere between 4,800 to 5,600 merits for completing the assignment. You multiply that by 5 assignments per week. I mean, you can easily get 5 levels per week just doing your assignments alone. So we're going to start off here with destroy rival powers and acquisition systems. I highly recommend you actually just skip this one and not do it and just do the other 4. The reason being for that is getting enemy power ships to spawn on acquisition systems is very difficult and very rare. There's only a couple ways to do it. One way, which is actually broken and not working correctly in the game for the majority of players. But if you are an absolute completionist, I will kind of give you a link to a video which will help you find a way to do it. So I'll just quickly go over this one, and we're going to skip through it and head to the next 4. If you're one of the lucky few players where this part of PowerPlay is not broken for you, the best way to get your power kills in acquisition systems is to go to acquisition systems that are in conflict. And I'll put a link in the for a video down below, which actually shows you how to use the galaxy map and find out where your systems are in conflict for your power. And what you do is once you found a conflict system, you would travel there, scan the nav beacon, and then get back up in the Super Cruise. And once you have, find one of these power conflict zones, and just travel straight to it, drop in it, and it will start spawning power ships just the same as a regular conflict zone does for faction wars. However, for the vast majority of the community, this is not working correctly, and you'll drop into the power conflict zone and no ships will spawn. Some people have tried logging in and out and whatever, and it's still not working. There's only a very, very small amount of the community that it's actually working for. Outside of this, the only other way to really get power ships to spawn in an acquisition system reliably is through using wreckage signal sources. And rather than showing you how to do that, I will just do another link for another video down below for salvaging. And if you just do that and if you follow along with that, about every 10 salvage signals, you'll get some enemy power ships. So again, it's not really worth your time. Doing it that way, maybe every hour, you're going to get 3 to 4 power kills. So it's not very efficient at all whatsoever. The really only efficient way to get these kills in acquisition systems is in the power conflict zones, and unfortunately, they're broken for the majority of the players right now. So we'll just continue on to the next assignments from here. So next here, we'll get into distribute power malware to acquisition systems. So the first thing we're going to do is go to any fortified or stronghold system to your power, dock at any station, go to your power contact, and it'll be picking up some of the power injection malware. And then the next thing we're going to do is plot a course and jump to an acquisition system for your power. And down below in the description, I'll have a link to a video showing you how to use the galaxy map and PowerPlay so you can find your acquisition systems for your power. Once you arrive in system, the first thing I like to do is set my filter in my navigation panel to show only settlements. And then I take a look at the status panel to see which factions are in the system. I always try and find if there's a pirate faction, because if there is, if you're raiding their settlements, you're not going to get any bounties. And if you don't find any pirate factions, or at least any pirate factions that own settlements, then look for factions that are not allied to your superpower. You want to avoid raiding factions that are allied to your superpower. So if you do this too often, you will start to get a hostile reputation with your superpower, and it will begin to hinder your progress in power play. So for example, if you're Empire power, don't raid Empire factions. If you're a Fed power, don't raid Federation faction settlements. And once you've found out which faction you want to raid, or more importantly, which one you don't want to raid, you want to find the best settlement that's suited for it. So you want to find a combination of like the largest settlement that you can find with the lowest security. The larger settlements are going to have more data pads, and if you have lower security, of course, you have less NPCs to deal with, and it's a little easier to sneak around the settlement. Once you pick your settlement, we'll just fly to it, and you can land on a landing pad if you want, or land beside the station or the settlement. It doesn't matter. If you're not familiar with the layout of the settlement you're going to raid, landing on the landing pad can be beneficial. There's usually a terminal right close to the landing pad that's not close to security guards that you can hack. Of course, make sure you have a Maverick suit, and as soon as you get out of your ship, like I said, if you're not familiar with the layout of the settlement already, just make sure you grab at least one e-breach. And also grab your injection malware that we're going to use to upload to the data terminals. And then from here, we'll find the terminal that's closest to the landing pad. If you're at a station similar to this little hut usually has a terminal hidden in it, and if not, there's usually an archway or somewhere where there's no security guards, you can get access to a terminal. And once you get to your terminal, use your e-breach to hack it, and that will remove your security requirements to access the panel view of all the items we can interact with in all the different buildings of this settlement. So once it's hacked, you're going to open it up, and we're just going to scroll through every building and all the departments and try and see how many data pads there are. And once we decide which ones we want, we will first go to the security building or power building, depending on the size of the settlement you're at, and we're going to find the alarm system, disable it first, and then we'll go through and start hacking all the terminals. But it is important to make sure you disable the alarm system, because if you do not, once you start downloading data, every security guard in the settlement is going to come running after you and have to try and fight them all at the same time. And then as you can continue to interact with settlements, every time the alarm sounded, reinforcements will keep on coming from ships, and you will eventually just get a higher and higher and higher level, wanted level. So just make sure we disable the security alarm for the settlement first. And anything that you pin in the panel menu, it'll appear on your HUD now as marked, so you can see we have the alarm system marked, and we're going to head there first and disable it. And once you have that disabled, you can then again use the panels to find where all the data terminals are. Even if you're familiar with the layout of a settlement, the placement of the data terminals themselves is kind of random in the rooms. So if you don't want to spend time actually trying to physically find them, you can just use the data terminals to mark and pin them and run straight to them after we disable the alarm. And once you get to your first door, you can continue to use e-breaches, or you can just use your cutter from your Maverick suit. I prefer to use my cutter. It's just saves you the credits of constantly needing to buy e-breaches all the time. And then switch to your charging tool. Typically your reload button is going to change its mode. Go to overcharge mode to reach the door. You typically need a level 2 security clearance in order to disable alarm systems if you're not going to have extra e-breaches on you. So the best thing to do is just look through this first area once you get in, try and find somebody that's got a level 2 security clearance, and then incapacitate them to steal their credentials. If you're really trying to be stealthy while you do this, you can use your charging tool again here. You overcharge to kind of taser somebody. And once they're down, you can switch over to your scan tool and steal their credentials. I will infiltrate deeper into the settlement until we get to the alarm panel to turn it off. And now that the alarm's off, if we do have to take anybody down, the whole settlement alarm's not going to go off. We're not going to garner the attention of the entire settlement security. And now we can just go to the panels and look for more of the data pads, and we'll just quickly speed through and do the first data pad. Well, the first data pad happened to be pretty close to the security area, so you just hit the upload button, then choose one of your pieces of data to upload, and hit the button, and you just have to stay within range and wait for the timer. And while you're waiting for the timer, I like to run around and break into and hack any storage lockers or compartments I find, just to steal the goods. And once it's done too, I'll usually download whatever data is here. It's all good engineering materials for your suits, and the extra power data you get when you turn it in is just extra merits as well. Then I'll just fast forward through here, because as I was doing this run, I just took my time and looted all the compartments to steal all the engineering materials. You can also find PowerPlay boxes so you can steal some of the stuff for extra merits. And you'll eventually make your way to the control room, where we'll be able to disable all of the settlement defenses, since I'm an exploration ship right here, so it's not going to withstand too much firepower, so we'll disable all the defenses, so when we take off, we don't have to worry about them. Now, from here on, until I get back to my ship, I'm just going to play it all at fast forward speed, and because now it's just rinse and repeat, a lot of the same. Just finding the data terminals, uploading your data, downloading the extra data if you choose, and until we get back to the ship, and that's when I'll show you the next part. Once you get back to your ship and hop in your cockpit, it'll automatically transfer all the contents of your suit into your ship's inventory. And then now we'll just have to reset the instance and do it over again. Now, I think we had 5 data terminals in this settlement, so if we do it twice, we'll complete the task. So we'll just reset the instance in order to do the task to the next 5 data terminals. Now, logging off and logging back in does not reset the instance. The only way to properly reset the instance is we got to go back up in the super cruise and just get up above the orbital plane, and it will turn around and we'll quickly land and do it all over again. If you just log in and out, it'll look like the instance reset, all your NPCs will be back. But if you go to the data terminals, they'll say there's no data. So in order to repopulate the data, you do actually have to leave and then come back. Now, once you land and disembark again, as long as you remember the layout, I wouldn't bother grabbing a knee breach and hacking the terminal stuff again. It's not necessary. Just grab your data you need and go straight to the security alarm, disable it, go straight to your data terminals and upload your data. Now, once you know the layout, you can kind of skip that process. And once you've uploaded the last piece of data, you need to complete the mission. It will credit the assignment for you, and you don't have to bring anything back to any of the other stations or anything. If you want the merits for the extra data that you've been downloading, you'll just have to make sure you go to the right control system, the effects sys acquisition system, to turn all that in. And again, the video I post below with how to understand a galaxy power map will go through all that for you. But I'm not going to show a complete second run of this. It's just the same thing repeating itself, and then we'll just complete this task and we'll head on to the next one. So next task up here, we're going to do the deliver biological samples. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have an Artemis suit. If you don't have an Artemis suit yet, all you got to do is go to a Pioneer Supplies and any station you're able to disembark in, and just go to your suits and make sure you purchase one. It doesn't have to be the best, but if they have a pre-leveled up one, tier 2 or higher, you might as well grab it. And then after you have your suit, the next step is to find the system to get this biological data from. If you're an explorer, you already know how to do this, so I won't go through the details. If you're not an explorer and you don't enjoy it, I'll save you some time, and I'm going to show you exactly which system you can go to that's inside the bubble, and it's very easy to get this stuff. The system we're in is HIP 35965. And the planet we're going to go over to is planet 7D. Now you are also going to have to make sure you have a detailed surface scanner on your ship to make this a little easier for you. Once near in range, you want to just fire your detailed surface scanner, and you're just shooting probes at the planet and making sure you get 100% coverage. Once your planet is fully scanned, it will show you the different types of organics you have on this planet. You don't want to search for the bacteria, so just switch over to the whatever this says, because the bacteria can be a lot harder to find. So the areas of the planet you see while you're in your analysis mode of your cockpit is where the high concentrations of that biological is. So we're just going to come down to the planet to an area where it's fairly bright blue. I'll usually try to also make sure I'm on like the daylight side of the planet, so I'll switch back and forth between analysis mode and combat mode, get rid of that kind of colored overlay to see what part of the planet I'm landing on. And as we start to really approach the planet, you'll start seeing kind of like the large trees that we're looking for the biologicals starting to spawn in. And then we just want to go ahead and land fairly close to whatever these trees that we find. And then once you're docked, just make sure you have your Artemis suit equipped. If you don't already have a loadout saved with your Artemis suit, and if you've never done foot stuff before, just make a new loadout and just choose your suit, choose your weapons if you want, and then just save it as whatever you want to call it. I would say weapons aren't really necessary in an Artemis suit, but if you don't feel comfortable without packing some heat, then like I do, you might as well put something on there. Just name your loadout and save it, and then make sure you choose equip loadout, and we can head out and start getting our samples here. Once you're out, just make sure you equip your sample gun. I think by default it's like number 5 for your tools. You're scanning here, it doesn't work like you're in your SRV. It won't let you scan your things. So you just go to your sample gun, you just hold down your fire trigger until it can finish doing its thing. It'll just spin around, and then it'll award you with the sample. Now, in order to complete the sample, you have to do this 3 times, but there's a thing called genetic diversity, so it won't let you scan another tree that's within a close range. So the fastest thing to do is just jump back in your ship and just fly away, a kilometer or 2, and jump out and scan another bunch. And we'll just repeat this 2 times, and I'll just fast forward through a little bit here. As we approach for the last sample here, if you use your secondary tack while you have your sample gun out, it'll do a pulse, and it'll show you whether or not you're something you can scan, if it's genetically diverse enough. It's green if it is, and it'll be blue if it's not. So now that we got our final sample, we will just take this back to our power contact at the narrate station and deliver it. Now, once you're back at whatever system they told you to deliver the sample at, you just want to disembark and we'll head inside. You're only going to need one sample because this type of biodata is very profitable.
Welcome to Vista. You're here to help us further our research, I assume.
And once you turn in your data, it will actually complete the task. You don't see that up on your HUD when you're on foot, but you will get, I got a message saying that I ranked up from all of the merits that I earned.
Can I help you with anything
But if you
else?
check on your task list, it'll mark it as complete too. So I hope FDev does improve their HUD notification when you're on foot about completing your assignments. Now we'll head on to the last two tasks here. Now these last two recover goods from whatever system it tells you, as well as recover research and industrial data from whatever system it happens to be telling you. We can do both of these at the same time, so we'll do that here. Now I'm going to just be very quickly going over this because there's so many similarities from the task we did earlier in this video for uploading the data. Once you travel to the system that's telling you to do this, which I'm under my, finding a faction that's either a pirate faction or that's not part of your same superpower, and then finding the largest settlement with the lowest security possible. And just like before, we'll disembark and make sure you grab at least one e-breach. It's optional for you if you want to grab any of the malware data if you want to get extra merits by uploading it while you're downloading stuff. And again, like before, we'll head straight to a terminal and hack it. Only difference is this time, rather than only looking for the alarm system and the data terminals, we're also going to be looking for the PowerPlay storage boxes. And similarly to before, once you mark the alarm system, we head to it and disable it first. Being that we're at a similar settlement with very almost identical layouts, we could have skipped, needing to mark the settlement alarm. But there are a few different types of settlements that have different layouts, and if you're not familiar with them, it's a good practice to do. And also, like before, once you get in the building, I want to find somebody with at least level 2 security, incapacitate them, and steal their credentials. And once we get to the alarm, make sure we disable that. Once you arrive at the data terminal, you just hit the download data. I download everything. Any other power data that you get, it's extra merits, and the other engineering data is always good. Then you just, again, wait for it to download. And it's up to you if you choose to. If you want to maximize your merits, you could choose to, once the download is complete, go ahead and upload the malware data. And again, while you're waiting for data to download, I'll usually like to loot all of the locked cabinets around to steal all the goods as well. And don't forget to turn off all the settlement defenses, especially if you're in an exploration type ship that doesn't have strong shields or hull. It's always worth breaking open these larger locked cabinets. Just even breaking this one here, you'll see got a bunch of this ship schematics, suit schematics, building schematics, all the things you need for upgrading your suits, weapons, as well as upgrading your access to your engineers. And we'll continue on through to more of the data pads and keep on downloading all the data until we hit all 5 data pads. And again, there's lots of loot you can get from these settlements as you're waiting for data to download. You're only killing time anyways, so you might as well break into any cabinets you can find within range. See, in this settlement, there's a power container here in front of me. So you happen to have an extra e-breach on me, so I use this to break into it and take the power supplies. If you didn't have an e-breach, you can just go back to a console and then use that to find that power container, and it'll give you the pin. And if you happen to steal a level 3 access from a dead NPC, it'll actually tell you the code as well when you approach the box, as long as you've had it pinned. Always check outside as well for the building exterior. Every settlement always has at least 1 power container on the outside. Some settlements will have 2 containers on the outside, so make sure you always check for them as well. We'll see as we approach this exterior container, because we had it pinned and we have level 3 credentials. As soon as we go up to it, it'll actually tell us the pin code to enter, so that we don't have to worry about memorizing it. And just like before, when we were doing the upload mission or assignment, is after you've stolen everything and you've taken all the data, you got to reset the instance, going back to your ship, launch, take off, come back, and do it all over again. And you just keep on doing this over and over again until you've got all the data that you've needed. And by the time you've gotten all the data, you would have gotten enough of the power commodities from those boxes as well. So that would complete both missions at the same time. And you just take the data back to any system that they told you in the assignment description. Then go to your power contact and we'll just turn in everything that we have. And that'll finally complete both assignments. You'll see we'll get a pretty decent amount of merits just from turning in these items as well, on top of the rewards from the mission itself, or the assignments rather. And as we're just wrapping this up, turning in the last bit of the data, that'll be the last of the assignments we're going to cover on this video. And if you found this helpful and you'd like to see more of it in the future, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll keep the series rolling. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I have been unable to get online for a few days due to a storm, so I've got 2 or 3 more merit farming videos coming out, especially now that there's been the rebalancing, so we'll have a little more accurate depiction of what kind of merits you can expect from different activities.